Those that have been following the channel for some time now will know that I'm trying to get a massive Sega Mega Drive collection. All of the PAL games ever made, plus certain variants, peripherals and hardware. And in this week's show, we have a collector's edition, where we're going to take a look at the items that I've picked up over the last month, including a very special custom PAL version of the Sega Nomad and a Holy Grail game. My name's Mike, and this is the Retro Gamer Boy Show. Whoa, 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 what are you doing? Before we take a look at that awesome looking PAL version of the Sega Nomad, we got to check out everything else that I managed to get this month, including an awesome Holy Grail and a Sonic statue from the Sega store. Make sure you keep an eye out for that as well. So let's get into this month's collector's edition. This first item gets me a little closer to completing one of the Phantasy Star games. So the first item we're going to look at is not actually a game, but part of a game, and it's this. It is the Phantasy Star 2 map. Now, I don't have everything to do with Phantasy Star. There's a book as well, but I didn't realize there was a ground map. So there's a ground map, so I can now add the ground map to the Phantasy Star game. I just need the book, which is a little hard to get hold of in any kind of good condition. But once I've got the book as well, I'll have a complete Phantasy Star, which is awesome. Oh, 𝗙𝗵𝗃 has finally made it into the collection. So I've wanted this game for the longest time. And when I say the longest time, since it was released. And I saw this reviewed in magazines and saw the graphics for it, and then ran around a friend's house and played it. I was just blown away by it. But it's just taken me this long to get the game. Now, this variant of the game is quite rare to get hold of, because players of this will notice, or astute players will notice, that it actually is down as a 2-player game on the box art, but it's not. It's a 1-player game. And this variant of the game has the 1-player correction sticker over the top of it. There's not many of these put out with this on this, and I'm not sure if Sega did this or if stores did this, but it is a rare variant to get hold of it. Cutthroat Island. Cutthroat Island. The movie is terrible, but the game is surprisingly good. I had no expectations that this was going to be any good when I got it. I'd not heard about it back in the day. Only, maybe about 6-7 years ago I came across it. But playing it, I'm really surprised by it. The combat mechanic in it is actually quite good. And there's loads of different variation in the gameplay, like going on a runaway cart or controlling something. I mean, it's just a solid game. It's not a great game, but it's surprisingly solid, especially considering that the film was so utterly dreadful. Next, NBA Tournament Edition. NBA Jam Tournament Edition. Probably my most favorite sports game on the system. You just can't beat it. It's such an awesome arcade experience. It's taken a while to get it into the collection because all the copies I've looked at have been in terrible condition. But this one is really minty. So happy to have this in the collection as well. The classic and original Paperboy for the Mega Drive. It's taken a while to get this game in the collection. It's really hard to find, or at least I found it hard to find. And the only copies I have managed to come across in the last few years have been missing manuals, or the covers all been scuffed up. I have no idea why. I didn't think this would be a rare game, but maybe it had a limited print run. The elusive Cyborg Justice. Talking about hard to find games, Cyborg Justice. Again, another game that I thought was super common, but I've had real trouble trying to get hold of in any kind of good condition. Now this one is super minty, really happy with the condition of this game. and I kind of enjoyed the game. Visually, the graphics are quite nice, especially for an early 90s game. The gameplay is not that great, but the customization of your robot is a cool little feature. So kind of semi-impressed with the quality of this game considering how old it is, but surprised again that it's been hard to get hold of Cyborg Justice. Beavis and Butthead. This is relatively easy to get hold of. I just haven't bothered for a while because people were asking stupid prices for it. But I did manage to pick it up in the end for 25. It's in good condition. I played a little bit of the game. Visually really good. Visually really, really good. Gameplay wise, I got bored of it quite quickly. From 𝗵𝗺𝗶𝗴, Astro-Bros, a brand new indie game. Many of you would have seen the unboxing for this. This is Astro-Bros from 𝗵𝗺𝗶𝗴, and it is one of my favorite Mega Drive games ever. It is a stunning, stunning game. If you haven't got yourself a copy of this game, I definitely recommend it. There is a ROM out there as well, so if you want to try before you buy, you can do that. I think it's a demo ROM, it's not the full game. These guys have some decent protection. No cartridge in the moment because it gets constant use. I'm constantly playing this game, but I can definitely recommend getting Astro-Bros. I got one game at the London gaming market, and that's Winter Olympics. So I didn't actually buy this. I was gifted it by Jonathan, who's a friend of the channel and a friend of mine, and he gave me this absolutely fantastic copy of the game. It not only comes with the manual, but it comes with a little paper, I don't know what you'd call that, slip for something, and the poster inside. Now this is a variant for me, and I am collecting the kind of major variants, or things that I consider major variants. So this is the US Gold version, this is the Kicks version. So I had the Kicks version, and the Kicks version I've got here also has that little paper kind of label thing, but doesn't have the poster. And I'm not sure if it came with the poster, this one, but this one definitely has the poster in it. So this is a complete in-box version, and having this in the collection now completes the Winter Olympics collection. These are super interesting. These are Panini Mega Drive cards that you could collect back in the day. So I've got most of the cards, and I bought them off of eBay, and the guy I purchased them off actually said he had more cards and that he would send them to me for free. So I'm going to say thank you to Treebeard for sending me through the collection. He's almost provided me the entire card collection, which is absolutely amazing. I think only 17 remaining to get. I've put them in these hard plastic cases that you can see here. And what I want to do is essentially put them in the game boxes. So you can get a binder for them. I was talking to Sega Head about this, but I've decided I'm actually going to put them inside the game boxes as well. That way, when I go to play the games, which I play quite a lot, I'll see the cards in there as well. And it's almost like a finishes off the game box as well, having these awesome game cards in them. But I had no idea these existed, and when did I find out about them? Probably about a year ago. I think it was at one of the London gaming markets where someone was selling them, and I came across them. But I had no idea. If I'd known about these back in the day, I would have spent all my pocket money as a kid purchasing these. And I probably would have found out about some more games that existed on the Mega Drive than I actually knew about. Oh, I love 𝗵𝗺𝗺. So these are now going to go into the game boxes and become part of the collection. I finally have it! Mega Man Wily Wars. And there's an interesting story to go along with this one. I'm so happy with this. Obviously because of, like I've just said, the price of it, but the condition is, well, absolutely fantastic condition. Really, really nice. Lovely manual there. And the cartridge as well. I did a lot of checking when I picked this up to make sure it was original, obviously, given the price that this can sell for. And whilst I didn't pay anywhere near what people are selling it for it was still not cheap. But, you know, love this game. I'd never played a Mega Man Wily Wars until we played it on live at the arcade, which was about 8 months ago. and love it. Can't believe I've not played a Mega Man game until we played it on live at the arcade. But another Holy Grail game in the collection, and a pretty expensive one at that too. Come and join me by the arcade, which I finally got up and running after a year of it being out of commission. Anyway, the story behind Mega Man Wily Wars. Now, I recently went, I say recently, about a month ago to the London gaming market, and I didn't pick up any games. Some of that is because I've got most of them, but also because the prices I thought were a bit too high. And I got chatting to one of the vendors there, and he said there's a real problem that he faces, and that is that people are no longer paying the prices for some of these games. And this is a problem for him, and I'm guessing for other sellers, because the games that they purchased in at a higher price, they can no longer make a profit. Now, he was saying that expensive games like Mega Man Wily Wars, they're not too much of a problem. They don't sell quickly, but they do still sell for the price that he has on the label. The problem he said he's got are all your mid-level games. Games like Sonic, platform games, sports games. Games that have almost doubled in price over the last 3 years. He's now finding that people are not willing to spend as much money on. And in fact, people are more willing to kind of either barter with him for nearly half the price, or just won't purchase the game. The other problem, if the game isn't in great condition, then he can't sell it for the asking price either. People are getting picky about this. We had a little back and forth on this, and conclusions were that probably the people that want these games, collectors like myself, are getting close to the end of collecting everything that we want. And there's a larger number of people out there selling. And this is where this comes into the story. Now, I didn't buy this at the London gaming market. I did buy this though off a private seller. A private seller that had a pretty decent collection, about 400 games, so nearly a full PAL collection, full PAL UK collection. And he has been trying for the longest time to shift his collection. He needs the money for other stuff. And we were going through some of his games. I got pretty much all of them, but I didn't have this. Now, this on eBay hasn't sold for, but people are putting prices up for nearly £1,000, right? And this was probably $250 a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. And he was trying to sell this for about $850, and has had no joy for 6 months. Couldn't sell it. So I said, look, I can't afford $850 for it. What do you want for it? And he said he just wants to get shot of the collection now. So he sold it to me for $400, half the price that others are trying to sell it for. I'm not going to say buy it for, because I haven't looked at what it's sold for on eBay lately, but half the price of what people are selling it for. Now, for $400, that's still a lot of money, especially for a game that was like $250, maybe $300. But it is a hard game to get hold of. It's not rare. It's Mega Man. They made plenty of Mega Man games, but it's a scarce game. So I picked it up for $400 from a private seller. And it's got me thinking that, is there a downturn in Mega Drive games? And I've got to say that of all the games that I've purchased over the last month, a lot of them have been about 20% less than what they used to be, especially the mid-level stuff. 𝗽cie, Paperboy, all those types of games where they were selling for like £40, got them for like £25, £27. So there's definitely, from what I've seen, a downturn in the market. Just an interesting thing. It may not be, it might be that I just got lucky on buying those things, but from people I talked to at the London gaming market, the fact that people can afford to be a bit more picky, others are finishing their game collections, others are selling their games collection, it does feel like there's more people selling now than buying, and that could lead to a drop in price, or at least the chance to barter for a better deal. Now, I only picked up one item at the London gaming market, and it's this, the Sega Nomad. It's not just any Sega Nomad, this is a fully modded Sega Nomad with a battery that lasts 8 hours, a brand new screen, new speakers, and it's multi-region. And alongside that, I also picked up this aftermarket box for it as well. So here's the box, and at first glance it's pretty decent, right? Not bad for a fake box, but you can see as you get close to it, you get this like purple pattern, and that's where the dots, the printing dot, has got very close together, and it makes this what we call a moire effect. So you can see that actually it's very, very fake, and you can see it on the photography as well. So basically what's happened here is someone has taken a photograph of the original box, put these graphics on again to make them look high res, the text and things like that, but all the other stuff is all fake. So there's like a pattern across the Nomad there, and that is because the photograph is not able to handle the detail of the little printing dots, so it comes across as this really weird pattern. So there's that, and then it's a thick card, which is good, but the original, again, if you're a Sega fan, you'll know that this thick kind of single walled corrugated card wasn't what the consoles came in. They came in the flimsy card because that was super cheap to print on. So with that in mind, I took the dimensions of it, took inspiration from it, and decided to make an authentic European version. So let's take a look at that. And here is my European version. Now, it's based on the Mega Drive 2 branding because the Nomad came out after the Mega Drive Mark 1 had finished shipping, and the Mega Drive Mark 2 and Mega CD Mark 2 were well into production. So it's all based on that kind of branding. Everything's built from scratch. All the photography is mine, screenshots are mine, everything. And one of the hardest bits was getting this background right, because what it is it's kind of like a smoky background. Probably won't show up on the camera here. And when they did the Mega Drive 2 Mini, they really pronounced the smoke, but it doesn't look like that at all on the original Mega Drives. It's actually quite a subtle smoke effect. So I spent a long time trying to get that right. And again, you know me, I'm pretty OCD when it comes to things, but this grid here is the kind of proper perspective grid, the right number of lines for a Mega Drive 2 and a Mega CD 2. So that's on there, got the 16-bit logo, and then the top is face up like this. So when you look at the front of the box and then you rotate it around, it says Nomad face up like this, which is different from what it has on the Genesis one. If I just get the Genesis one here, you see the Genesis is different. That's because they probably put them in like this into the shelves. They stocked them into the shelves like that, and then you'd pull it out. Whereas in Europe, they were done like this because they're usually on the shelf like this. And then when you look at it from the top, you can see it on the top there as well. It's not back to front. So in Europe, they were done slightly different there. And then on the front here, got the 16-bit logo that they did. I redrew that, and again just tried to make it more like the Mega Drive 2. Same down the side here. Mega Drive 2 in Europe, we have all these logos that you have to have in it, but tried to keep some of the Nomad structure to the box. So, you know, having the Nomad on the side there, having some gameplay footage. Each one of these screens is different, by the way. So I've got different screenshots on here, and you can see on this side it's different as well. It doesn't have any of those logos down the side there. Again, the European versions of the Mega Drive and Mega CD didn't have that. And then this is back to front here because it has to roll nicely from the back. So it goes like that, you see. So when you put it onto the back like this, you see the bottom, and the bottom is the right way up. This has got all the legal text on it. This is all the correct legal text that you'd find in Europe. And then you've got the back. And I'll just pick up the Genesis box again so you can see the Genesis back and the PAL back that I've done. And again, taking a lot of inspiration from the Genesis version, but also tried to make it my own. So on the On the back here we've got a lot of the stuff that Genesis has just replaced for Mega Drive. And then same with this legal text, pretty much the same stuff that's on the Genesis packaging. Just changed the address to the European address at the time, put that on there, change that out. What else did I do? Also, the screenshots are slightly different, so I decided to put on 𝗏𝗺𝗆𝗏 rather than Comic Zone. So I've got Comic Zone on the sides and the front, just like the Genesis one has, but you'll see on the Genesis one they carry on with Comic Zone, whereas I put 𝗏𝗏𝗆𝗏 on. But then the game's mostly the same, so we've got down here Sonic and Knuckles, Comic Zone, that's exactly the same. Screenshots are very close except for Sonic and Knuckles. I didn't like their screenshot, I wanted something different, so I put a slightly different screenshot on there. This is close to what you find on the Genesis one. Now down here they have World Series Baseball. Obviously we didn't have that in Europe, so I put on there Virtua Racing. This does work with Virtua Racing as well, by the way. I checked that first before putting that screenshot on there, because I didn't want a screenshot of a game that doesn't actually work with it. And then the Adventures of Batman and Robin. You can see close, not exactly the same screenshot, but you know, I played it and got it as close as I could. Then on the Genesis version, we have accessories that you can get for the Nomad. And I mean, yes, the battery, but I mean the 6-button joypad, I mean that's just a Sega general accessory. Same with the arcade stick. The car adapter is different. The AC adapter, well, we'll see why I don't include that in there, and TV hookups. So I haven't included that in there. I've done mine slightly different. So mine is what's included in the pack, and I've gone and added a load of extra stuff in there. So with the Genesis, you only got a Nomad battery cover and the Nomad, but I've got in my pack the Nomad 6-button controller, an RGB SCART cable, and a AC power adapter, which means I can take this on holiday or on business trips and play on a big TV, or as long as it's got SCART obviously, or have 2-player as well, or have 2-player on the big screen TV. So kind of like that Nintendo Switch thing. But yeah, so tried to be as authentic as I possibly could. Let's unbox it, because of course I didn't just do the exterior, I did the interior as well. So we'll just open this. Now you'll see that I've done the thin card, the same sort of card that you would get the original Mega Drive, kind of Sega packaging, and then took the barcode, which is also on the back, and stuck it on those tabs there. Right. Now, I never had, obviously the Genesis is a US based product, and when I bought the fake box, it came with this fake interior, and I'm not an expert on the Nomad. I think there's 2 versions of the packaging. I think the original first release had packaging either side, so 2 boxes either side, or something either side, and then the Genesis slotted into it, and that's how it was. And then I think, and I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, this was the second edition of the packaging, which had the Nomad in there. So I think that's how it worked. And you know, a lot of people say the Nomad's rare. I guess for a country like the US, the number of units it sold wasn't very many, considering the gaming population there, but it sold over 1 million units, so it's not a rare thing. 1 million is not rare. But yeah, let's open up, have a look what I've done. Right, here we go. So right off the bat, here is the Sega Nomad, all taped up in the right sort of plastic as well. Such a massive nerd. There's the SCART cable there, and there's a slot down the side which fits the power cable perfectly. So there's a power cable, and I actually bought an adapted power cable, so it works on the Mega Drive 2, and it works on the Nomad, and it works on the 32X. I don't know why I did that. I just decided to get something that was a little bit more flexible, not that I'll need it. And then underneath here, if we look inside here, we have the joypad, the controller. And I've opted to go, I bought a retro bit one, because they're authentic and officially licensed. I went for a wireless one. I might get a wired one and put that in there just so it's more authentic, but for now I've decided to go for the wireless one just to make it easier if I want to play with 2 players. And I've got the manual in there. So the only thing I need to do now is make the manual for this thing, and it's a big fold out like poster manual. I'll do that, and the warranty card as well. I'll do that as well. But that is the European version of the Sega Nomad. I cannot tell you how cool it is to have a Sega Nomad. I've actually been playing this for the last month way more than any of my consoles, more than my Nintendo Switch. Being able to just pick up and play or take your Mega Drive games along with you wherever you're going is absolutely amazing. And these mods just are the finishing touches for this console. An 8-hour battery, an awesome screen, and being multi-region, it just completely unlocks the full Sega Mega Drive and Genesis experience. Now, if you enjoy shows like this, you love the Mega Drive or Genesis, or just love Sega Retro, then why not consider subscribing? You can do this by clicking on a little button just below this video. Also click on the little bell just below the video so that you don't miss out on any of our shows. And while you wait for the next one, you can check out 2 videos over here.